Hey, how you doing? It's Chet Keenan here. Just want to have a little bit of real talk. So 7 years ago, I got diagnosed with psoriasis, arthritis. All happened on a Friday night. Basically, the Thursday night I was having some drinks and stuff like that. Friday morning I went to work and my toe started to hurt. And I got home, had a couple more drinks like an idiot, and my foot swelled up. So went to the hospital. My buddy Corey and Jeff went with me. And my buddy Jeff wanted to put me in a wheelchair so he could wheel me around the hospital. And basically, they spent the night with me as I was getting checked out. And the hospital said, or the doctor said, that I had gout. Okay, so next morning, go get some medication, and the pain and the swelling was just unbearable. I could barely even put a shoe on. Right now, you know, they say gout is a rich man's disease. I guess it was kind of put on me. You know, I like to drink, like to smoke, like to eat a lot of junk food and all that kind of stuff, and it caught up with me. Now, months went by, and that foot wasn't getting better. It was sore, it was tender. I could stand on it, no problem, but it was just killing me all the time. Kept on going back to the hospital. Kept on being told, you've got gout. And I kept on saying, I don't have gout. And they kept on saying, yes, you do. So I went to my family doctor, started seeing, you know, some specialists and whatnot, and nobody could figure out what I had. So one of my buddies, Ken, said to me, he said, hey, I got this doctor, she really helped me out. Why don't you go see her? So I went to my family doctor and I said, I want you to refer me to her. And he did. And she kind of went through the whole thing, and she said, you know, let's take a sample out of your toe and check for gout and see if there's any crystals there. And I said, is that going to hurt? Because I've been hearing from hospitals that this hurts. Nobody wanted to do it, but they kept on telling me it hurts, right? And at some point it was like, okay, why don't you guys just do this? And nobody wanted to do it. Well, she said, let's do it. So I said, is it going to hurt? She goes, well, it's not going to hurt her. It's going to hurt me, right? So she chuckled, I chuckled, and of course she did it. Wasn't fun, but the sample didn't really have anything in it. So by this time, I'd spent 6-7 months wondering what I had. So of course, I was going online, I was checking YouTube, and I was going through everything trying to find out what I had. And sure enough, the next time I went to see my doctor, I walked in and she said, I think you have psoriasis arthritis. I said, PSA. She goes, how do you know that? I said, well, I've had a lot of time to check out what I have. Okay? So here we are, got a diagnosis. One of the things about this was I didn't have psoriasis anywhere, right? So I just had this foot that was swelled up, right? And just was brutal, just totally brutal. And if you've ever had something that's debilitating like this, you know, you're getting depressed, you don't want to do anything, it affects your relationship with your wife or your girlfriend, you know, it's just one of those things that I don't wish on anybody, okay? Don't want to wish it on anybody, it's brutal. So part of the thing was for me to get on certain drugs, she said, hey, you know, you've got to go on methotrexate, right? So I did that for a while, made me sick, you know, you'd have to take a bunch of tablets once a week, and then one every day with a bunch of other stuff, and you know, it was brutal. I lost a lot of weight, wasn't eating, couldn't drink and stuff like that, which was fine. So time went by, and then I got put on an injectable. Now I'm lucky, I've got medical coverage that lets me be on those things. For people that don't have that, I really don't know how they go through it. Because when a psoriatic arthritis attack happens, it's just brutal. It just basically ends everything that you want to do during your day, and for whatever time it takes to get rid of it. So I finally got on the injectables. Now I'm a guy, I don't want to be on stuff all the time, right? And at that point in time either, you know, nobody said that you need to change your diet, you need to take vitamins, you need to do this, you need to do that, nothing, right? It just basically, here's an injectable, inject yourself every 2 weeks, right? So I'm not a fan of that, right? If your body's doing something to you, why is it doing it? So time went by, and you know, every 2 weeks you're supposed to take this medication. And I was like, I don't want to be taking this stuff for the rest of my life. So I'd take it for 6 months, and I'd be off it for a while. And usually took about 4 to 6 months before I'd have another attack, right? But yet again, diet hadn't changed. So I started seeing a pattern. And, you know, obviously weight causes issues with psoriatic arthritis, and injectables are used for other diseases as well, but I'm just specifically going to what I've been going through myself. And, you know, when these attacks happen, you can't walk, you have hard times going up and down stairs. I was on vacation with my wife just before we were about to leave. I had an attack, and that whole vacation, walking 10K with this was just the most debilitating thing I've ever felt. Every time we went someplace that should have been a beautiful vacation in Marmaris, Turkey, it just became disaster for me. As soon as we'd go someplace, I'd get home and I would sleep. And it just, every single day was like that. And my wife stayed in Turkey with her family, and I came home and I spent a good chunk of time basically lying on my couch every day because I just couldn't do anything, okay? So this thing started getting worse, and then I did start getting psoriasis in certain spots, and even that's not fun, right? At the very beginning, actually, of all of this, I started getting this flaking in my ears, basically, and when I went to my family doctor and said, hey, you know, I got this flake in my ears, what is this? Like, this isn't normal. And he was like, oh, it's normal, people get it. And I'm like, no, like, I'm literally taking scales out of my ears, right? And it still happens to this day, right? Wearing a black shirt, if I rub my ears or anything like that, flakes are everywhere, okay? So it's just not a fun time. Now recently, my insurance coverage changed, which caused a lot of issues for me. And basically, I finally got put on, I want to call it Hyrimoz, okay? This injectable right here. And I was a little scared about taking this because getting injected and you're doing it yourself is not fun, right? The injectable I had before, you'd press it up against your skin and you'd have to hit the trigger, right? And it didn't feel too hot. So I went online and I was watching a bunch of videos, and there was this lady that was on there, and she was crying and whining about this injectable here, saying how much it hurt and how much she wanted this other injectable, blah, 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 right? And I kind of was like, okay, I don't know, you might be overdoing it a little bit there, lady, but okay. So this is actually my second one that I've taken. I started taking it last 2 weeks ago. And when I took the first one, put it up to my skin basically, and as soon as you press it up, it basically just injects. Didn't feel a thing. I actually didn't even think that it was working. So I was like, okay. A couple minutes later, took it out. Everything was good, right? Now, same thing today. Took this, same thing. Put it up, injects. Didn't feel anything, right? So I'm pretty happy with this and how it works. I know there are different side effects and whatnot, but just want to kind of share my story on my journey with psoriatic arthritis, because it's not a fun thing to go through, and there are probably people out there that are walking around being told by doctors and hospitals and stuff that they've got gout, and maybe they got something that's a little bit bigger than that, and all the symptoms aren't showing up yet, okay? So I'm not a doctor. I'm just kind of going through what I'm going through in my own life and the hard times I've been going through with this disease. You know, I was doing a lot of stupid things when it came to diet and everything like that. I've now stopped drinking. January 1st of 2024 was basically when I decided that I was going to stop drinking altogether, just because I thought that, you know, if I took that out of the equation, now I can start working on things. And they say that these kind of diseases are within the gut, basically. So I'm trying to work on not eating a lot of garbage foods, trying to eat whole foods, and, you know, eating foods that basically, when you look on the back of the box, you can actually say them. And you know they're basically the root of what it's supposed to be. So that's kind of my steps. I've been taking a lot of vitamins, been watching Dr. Berg as well, and looking at the vitamin D3 connection, and I've been taking large amounts of vitamin D3, which seem to be helping some of the skin condition for me, right? I mean, this isn't for everybody, but I'm just at that point for myself that I want to understand how to fix this problem and not be on this the rest of my life. And that has to start with yourself, right? So that's kind of where I'm looking at things and trying to basically build my knowledge and trying to learn things so that I can better myself. And hopefully, you know, this helps somebody out there that might be going through something that is just unbearable to go through. It's some painful stuff. Man, I never thought I'd ever have to go through that, and I've gone through some serious accidents and surgeries and stuff but this here is on a whole different level. Your pain threshold becomes something out of this world when you start dealing with this. So just kind of wanted to talk about this because I heard a lot of stuff and watched a lot of stuff online saying how bad the injectable of it was, and I actually can't believe how easy it was. Now, I mean, everybody might be different, and that's okay. But for me, I found this really simple and easy to use. And I hope that if you're starting your journey with psoriasis arthritis, that you find the help and the cure or some kind of program that helps you get through it. Thank you very much. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and have a great day.